In one of the most dangerous corners of Burlington, there sits an oasis. What used to be a club where gunshots rang out nightly is now a place of worship. But some of the men who now go there to pray are the same ones who went there to party. That's because of Phil Bowers. He used to be a frat brother at Georgia Tech, then a businessman. Now his brothers are ex-convicts. He not only works with them, but finds work for them, when many of them thought there was nothing left.
I told him, I said, if God don't change me, I'm gonna kill all y'all when I get out. It got so bad in prison, man, and I tell you no lie. I used to cover my windows up in a total dog, listening to rock and roll, thinking it got to the point where I was like, man, you think it's so evil, you gotta be the Antichrist.
Michael Tate only had one plan when he was sent to prison: to be king of the jail yard. He made his intentions known quickly to his correctional officers and fellow inmates.
They kept me in the room for 8 years. They said that I was too violent for general population, so.
Do you think you were?
Yeah, I was.
Tate was sent to a military-style boot camp after stealing 2 cars in less than a year. Fed up with his punishment, he decided to escape with a fellow co-defendant and find a house to hide in.
I already told him, when we go in the house, whoever in there dies. Point blank, they die. Because I had planning this out for a long time. When we went in there, we waited for them. They came back, and my co-defendant just gave me a look like, please don't do it.
He says they decided only to tie up the homeowners to get a head start on what became a 3-hour high-speed chase, ending at the gates of Fort Bragg. Tate received 10 years in jail for kidnapping and grand theft auto.
I had said in my mind, I'm in prison. It's other people just like me in here, so I'm letting people know from the gate, from the time I step in here. You can do what you want to. You can say what you want to, but I promise I can make sure you don't do it again. And that was my personality in prison.
And for a while, that was his personality out of prison as well. After 10 years, Tate was released from jail, but he couldn't get a job because of his criminal record. Around 30% of former prisoners in North Carolina are reincarcerated within 3 years of their release, and Tate thought he might be one of them, until he met Phil Bowers.
I went to an employment agency up here, and due to the fact that I had a felony, they didn't want to really work with me. But she told me she had read an article in some local magazine, and so she gave me his contact information. I called him.
It's heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking, to look at a man in the eyes and see hopelessness. It's heartbreaking, and I've done it numerous times. They sit and it's just dead. I don't even know how to respond to that. It's heartbreaking. So when they start clicking to thinking, you know, I can stand up as a man because I have a place here and I can be heard here, and yeah, it brings me a lot of happiness.
In 2008, Bowers started Sustainable Alamance, a Christian-based nonprofit that helps ex-offenders get back on their feet. From hands in cuffs to hands in prayer, he finds his men jobs when no one else will.
We sort of watch to see, do they participate in the meetings. When they've been there a few weeks and show that they're willing to come, we'll find a day labor job for them. We'll have some furniture that needs moving. We'll have some yard work that needs to be done somewhere, and we'll put a rake in their hand and say, have at it. And then you'll find out, do they want to work?
You know, get him out there for a couple of days, 8 hours, see how he do, because it's easy to say I want to work. And me and Phil did some day labor. I picked up a landscaping job, and it was good, but it just went under. Then I went another job with care home. It went under. So I was like, good gracious.
Did you think you had the bad touch or something like that, or what's going through your head at this point?
Oh, I got this saying, I just can't win.
But Tate's luck turned when he found employment at Piedmont Metals with the help of Sustainable Alamance. For Bowers, their success is about more than just a job. Rooted in his Christian values, he wants to make sure their head and their heart are in the right place before they find work, and that they've made amends with themselves and with others.
The poster child would probably be Tommy Purcell. And the reason I say that, we've had other guys that are very successful with their work and this kind of stuff, but the real success with Tommy has been he's put his family back together.
Because last decade I had 5 DUIs, driver's license revoked, unauthorized use. I should have had felony. I should be in prison. I literally should be in prison for life.
After more DWIs than he can count on his 2 hands, Tommy Purcell had not just lost his driver's license, but his job and the love of his daughters.
And us 3 were never again together until last summer.
It was the strain he was putting on his family that Purcell says drove him to get sober, and he credits Sustainable Alamance with giving him the confidence to put his life back together. 3 years into Bowers' program, he's walked Christine down the aisle and has fulfilled Lindsay's lifelong dream.
Here it is. Here's what she sent me 2 weeks ago, guys. I couldn't be happier. All my life I prayed to go to Carolina. Now I'm here. All my life I wanted a relationship with my father. Now I have it. God is good. Ain't that cool? He is good, man.
Along with his rekindled relationships, Purcell also has a steady job maintaining properties in the Elon area. But for Bowers, finding opportunities for these men is a constant struggle against what he considers a broken system.
I heard these stories, and that's just not acceptable. You know, you're going to prison because you can't pay, and you can't earn the money because you've got the record, and you know, so you're in this trap, just round and around and around. I said that just can't be, and nobody was really doing anything about it in Alamance County. So I guess I said, well, why not me?
This place where Tate and Purcell started their revival runs the only program in the community that specializes in finding ex-offenders work after the North Carolina Department of Corrections cut funding for the Regional Job Development Program. But the funding source for Sustainable Alamance is also starting to run dry. It has cost you something, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, my wife and I, since I quit the jobs to do this, we've just had to live off our retirement fund 10 years earlier than we hoped to. So, yeah, and so it's just not going to be here.
Money never used to be an issue for Bowers. As a business executive, he was allowed to travel the world on the company credit card. But Bowers says when the textile industry began outsourcing jobs abroad, he decided to leave. After searching for another calling, he met the ex-offenders with no jobs, struggling to pay probation fees, child support, and other financial hurdles. Now he's invested everything he has left, teaching the men of Sustainable Alamance.
He would tell me some things, how to approach co-workers that want you to do all the work, the little frustration from that. You know, he taught me how to deal with all that. While normally, if I didn't have that information, it might have went worse.
Tate now says he mentors others in his neighborhood about staying out of trouble. But he gives the most attention to his 3 boys.
Because I feel as a parent, one of my jobs is to raise my kids to be better than I am now. You know what I'm saying? So I have to teach them these things. You know, I have to tell them about my life. You know, this is what I've been through.
It's harder to make that transition than I knew it was, and that most people believe it is. So, again, for most of us with the backgrounds we have, we would think, well, listen, man, you're giving them help, you're giving them a job, they're changing their life, they're doing this kind of stuff. What's the big deal? It's decades of inertia going the other way.
Bowers says that 9 in 10 of the men who start Sustainable Alamance don't end up sticking with the program. And after we thought this story was finished, Mike Tate became one of them. According to Tate, it started with an angry exchange involving the workplace. and Bowers says he felt like Tate was jeopardizing the brand of Sustainable Alamance, so he recommended he be removed from his job, and he was. After 3 years, Tate quit Sustainable Alamance.
Just breaks your heart, but you can't go too crazy over those. It's going to happen. But I believe most of the time these guys will show back up. They'll need the help. They'll recognize something, and they're welcome back.
30 Minutes will return in a moment.